Hello and welcome to the communication version of the Truro and Penwith Transferable Skills podcast. This is one of 4 podcasts, and today we're talking with our guests today about communication. I'm Ann Vandermulen. I work for the Federation of Small Businesses. I've been asked by Truro and Penwith College to come and host this wonderful podcast. We're working very closely on the Local Skills Improvement Plan, which is our involvement with skills. We've been working with the college, and I'm delighted to have with me today Hayley McKinstry, who is from the college, also Jullie-Anne Sunderland, who is from Wildanet, and also James Strongman, who's from Petrolab. So without further ado, I'm going to let them introduce themselves. So Hayley, over to you.
Perfect. As you said, I'm Hayley McKinstry. I'm the Director of Business Partnerships and Apprenticeships for the college, and my remit is on employer engagement, adult skills, and just making sure that we build the people and the workforce of the future with the right skills to be able to take them forward.
Fantastic. And James, tell us a little bit about where you're from.
Yeah, hi, I'm James Strongman, the Technical Director at Petrolab. We're a geological consultancy based down in Redruth. I grew up in Cornwall and I've been lucky to have a career in Cornwall. Fantastic.
I mean, it's good to hear people staying in Cornwall. That's what we want to keep the talent here. And Jullie-Anne, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, well, hello. I'm Jullie-Anne Sunderland. I'm the Chief People Officer at Wildanet, and part of my remit is looking after our workplace academy and also our apprenticeship programmes, and that brought me to our relationship with Truro and Penwith College.
Fantastic, and people will see the Wildanet vans all over the
I
place.
hope so. Yeah. There's 93 of them, so they should.
And they'll know what you do, broadband and
we do. We are connecting Cornwall, so we're part of the government's. It was the old Levelling Up agenda, and it's around bringing gigabit capable broadband to those rural communities and those hard to reach and underserved.
Fantastic. So this is a really good link into, that whole communication piece, how we talk to people. So Hayley, I'd like to come to you first of all as being part of the college. So these elements of successful communication, you've been pretty successful in talking to, businesses and employers and general alumni. Can you share us some examples of best practice now, and how has this all come about? Because this has kind of been a real sort of journey for you guys.
Absolutely. I think it's making sure that we are open, we listen, we are receptive to need, and then we work very, very closely with the individual businesses to build a programme that will support their need, but also will continue to grow the workforce in Cornwall. So a perfect example of that is our relationship with Wildanet. When the company was quite in its infancy, I met with Jullie-Anne, and Jullie-Anne was able to outline what the needs of the business was, and obviously very, very committed to development of local people in Cornwall and making sure that that is threaded throughout the business. So right from day one, we were able to work with Wildanet and make sure we understood their needs. We were very open, transparent and flexible, and that whole communication piece continues on a daily basis. We've got a fantastic academy with Wildanet that is delivered from our STEM and Health Skills Centre, but we've got the expertise of their team delivering those skills so that we really are making sure that we grow the future workforce for them. So
fantastic.
Really
important. And I've visited Wildanet actually, and you've shown me around the place there, and you've got some really fantastic high-tech stuff going on. So I'm interested as to how did this relationship with the college start? Because a lot of businesses out there, how do I communicate with the local college? How do I get these skills? What did you do in order to get, and how does that whole relationship sort of taken forward?
It's kind of there's lots of answers to that, Anne. So it starts from when we started to build out from Wildanet and the opportunities that we had within Cornwall. And it was really important to us that we established a business that was made in Cornwall for Cornwall, and we extended the opportunities and shared the economic growth that our business would provide right the way through all levels of our community. And there was obviously going to be a skills gap need for us, engineering, telecoms. If you weren't going to be working with one of the larger multinational companies, it didn't really exist in Cornwall. Oh, yeah. So I started to think about, well, how can we evolve those skills? I had some really talented expert engineers who joined us really quickly in our evolution. But we needed to share that, and what was going to be my vehicle to do so. And I also wanted to make sure part of my philosophy around our people agenda is that we support our workforce, not just in work, but in life. So how can I grow organically skills that our workforce might have and opportunities for their future outside of engineering? So I'd done some research on Truro and Penwith, had an initial meeting with Hayley and Martin, as we talked about. I think I probably came buzzing in the room with all of these aspirations for a business that was just a concept, really. We were really early into sort of establishing Wildanet. And I said, I think we could do this and I think we could do that. And I think one of the other things that was really important for me is that one of the pledges when we established Wildanet is that we would be a business that was easy to do business with. Right. So I had to lead that from the front and go out to build my connections for our supply chain, for our educational needs, etc., within our local community. And one of our core values is authenticity. So how I communicate with what my needs are has to be really real and true. And I think I present what I think I need quite clearly, but that might change, and that's okay. And what I found with Truro and Penwith College was the opportunity to have that open dialogue around, I've got this idea, how can we work that into something that's real? We established it didn't exist. And Hayley was like, but don't worry, we'll build it.
Fantastic.
Right, and within 12 weeks, we built the programme, we'd got all the standards signed off, and we were into recruiting our first apprentices. So invaluable for us. But if I couldn't have connected so well with the team and they weren't willing to listen to my needs, I don't think that we would have had that rapid ascent, Hayley. I think that's...
Yeah, I totally agree.
That's true.
And I think now we are just about to see the first and second cohort graduate.
Yeah.
And we're really excited about that whole concept, and we can then use the learner voice from that to make sure that we continue to build that workforce. And as Jullie-Anne said, it didn't exist, so we built it. And that is what's so good about Truro and Penwith College. We are adaptable and receptive to the needs of business, and we'll continue to do so.
So you heard it here first. Employers of the future, workforce builders of the future. There is no such thing as a crazy idea. Go and talk to Hayley. So that's absolutely brilliant. So talking of crazy things and crazy journeys, James. I mean, Petrolab you've got there. I mean, you went from sort of a work experience thing, and now you're actually helping the college with building their lab tech apprenticeships and so on. So tell us how that communication went.
Yeah, so mine's really a full circle story, really. And the learnings I've had through my career, I want to give back to the college. So a little bit of background. I was one of the first cohorts of students ever to go through Truro College when it was just one building. And I was on the very first year of the geology A-level course. Wow. And it was complete by accident. I got on that course, but I'm so thankful I did. But the key part of my journey was the work experience part of going out into industry and having that experience and thinking that is a career I want to follow, and having the advice from the company that I was lucky enough to get that experience with. And I did my degree, and then when I graduated, the mining industry was in a very low place, so there were very few jobs, so I was really lucky to get a job, especially in Cornwall. Only a few people I graduated that actually got geology jobs. And those that did, most of them went overseas.
Right.
So the interesting thing now is, and from there, and now we're sort of trying to get to follow that similar pathway, and because it's so exciting in the moment with the upsurge in mining, all the interest with Cornish lithium, British lithium, and Cornish metals, and hopefully mining coming back, we want to really see those talent pipelines start up and make those opportunities for people in Cornwall. Because I think this is the first time in living memory, that the opportunities are all here in Cornwall. And there's going to be a real skill shortage. So making sure that pipeline is there for these jobs that are coming is really
Do you think
important.
the communication with the college has now got easier than back in those early days? You said you fell into this you got the course but purely by luck. So there was kind of, are we taking the luck out of it now, and are people actually being able to find things? So that are the college doing a good job of getting out there and telling people more about what they're doing so that people can find them?
Yeah, that's definitely improving and seeing the opportunities that are there. I think one of the biggest differences, we did look at this lab tech apprenticeship before because it was something we were really interested in. But there were no providers. The closest was Southampton.
Right.
So it just wouldn't have worked for us. So, But now with the new team at the college, and we've got more of a. I also sit on the Cornwall Mining Alliance as their steering committee, and there's a real push for outreach. And we've actually got a load of companies now together. We all want the same thing or similar types of apprentices, and there's enough of us to actually support this lab tech apprenticeship.
And coming from that sort of background yourself, did you find that when you were a student that you were saying that you found it very beneficial going out and working in real time and with the businesses? Communication from the students, so we were talking about communication with the college and businesses and how they get involved, but actually that direct communication with the students and the businesses is also important?
Oh yeah, critical. Mine was by like family friend luck that I ended up with. But now I'm on the other side. We're working really closely with a whole group of different, so with the Careers Hub, the college, Minerals Matter, which is a national scheme to get people interested in careers in mining and quarrying. So there is much more support behind that and engagement to get industry, that connection, industry with the students.
And that's something that we found working with the Local Skills Improvement Plan actually, is that employers want the skilled staff and they want the workforce of the future, but actually finding that space to be able to give them some work experience is kind of the difficult thing. So Jullie-Anne, I'm going to come to you about that, because I know you guys at Wildanet do an awful lot of this sort of giving people some experience. You take in a lot of engineers, you do a lot of training on site yourself. So how do you find that sort of communication piece with the people that come to work with you? How do you help them to integrate with their learning, with their sort of, and with their daily work and that whole apprenticeship piece? How does that communication work for you?
So I think when we first started the apprenticeship programme, especially when we started to work with the next generation of the workforce, there was a lot of learning for us as a business. And that's where the college, again, was really helpful for us in terms of how do we communicate well with those that are entry-level students into a workplace, considerations that we would need to make about how we communicated back. How did we manage risk? How did we talk about health and safety? How do we talk about just the basic hygienes of being in a job? So all of those things were really useful for us. And when it came to the actual comms around when we were doing it within the business, it was received hugely positively, because I'm lucky, I'm surrounded by people who want to share their knowledge and their skills, and it's great that they've got a vehicle for doing that. But actually, this knowledge exchange happens both ways. So it's really interesting to see when the students were going through some of their more clinically assessed work, that the advice that they were offering to our current workforce to say, well, actually, we've just learnt this, and can we try this, and finding solutions. And one of the things that we do try to pride ourselves at Wildanet is that we will tackle the really tough jobs. So it's amazing when they're in this little hub of learning and they're exchanging ideas, innovation, looking for opportunities where maybe we wouldn't have seen it. So that communication has been really important to us. And we normally channel that through lots of your normal forums. So it's through having really good one-to-ones, really connected with our college, Georgie at the college, so that she's also making external assessments. So it's not just one view. We got that 360 a review of what's working. So you have people from the college who come and do
100%, assessing what's happening as well?
Yeah, it's really important, I think, because you know, we're never going to get it right all the time, and we are a busy business environment.
Well, yes, that's true.
Right, so it's really, and there's some stuff that we just don't quite understand, you know, and whether it's how complex some of the data collection for the evidence is, and how we get that into the right portfolio, and how we get that loaded onto the right systems. Right, so the college has been invaluable and educated us on how to do that. I'm very patient at times, right?
Excellent. So, patience, that's another kick in the box.
Patience is it's a virtue, isn't it? So that's been really helpful. And then we make sure that all of our apprentices are fully embedded. They are our normal employee, you know, if there is such a thing, but they're fully integrated into all of our review processes, all of our feedback processes. So we do quarterly happiness surveys, we do twice a year satisfaction surveys. So all of that feedback comes back into us as an executive team, so that we can review and how do we shape the future. And it's, you know, it's great. We've got not an engineering apprentice, but we've got somebody who's just completed their apprenticeship in supply chain, who has now written and taken responsibility for all of our policies, our procedures, and our sort of Jedi in terms of justice, equality, diversity, and basically human rights through our supply chain. So they've created an evaluation process of how we work, and making sure that we're working with suppliers that connect well with Wildanet.
Wow.
So all of that is about communication, about influence, and about doing the right thing for the wider community. So I don't know if that answers your question,
Well,
Anne,
it really does. I mean,
yeah,
you guys are brilliant at communicating, I have to say. You communicate through the business, but communicating backwards and forwards through the college, really important, because one of the things we really go on about is this employability skills and so on. And actually those kind of softer skills are really important, aren't they? And that's something that if you're communicating that backwards and forwards, is great. I mean, James, within your business, I mean, you know, there's lots of things that you will have learned through that. I mean, you employ 20 people or so now. Yeah. So you've gone through quite a sort of a journey and a process. How do you communicate with the college, and how do your employees do that too?
Well, we're sort of at the start of this journey, because we're building this lab tech apprenticeship. But what's been really valuable is learning about the value of outreach itself. So we've been going out into schools, talking about the different career options that are available within the industry. And one of the things I found that surprised me was actually we sent out some of our more junior staff to do some of that outreach, and that really helped them with their public speaking, with their just their confidence. And so that was a surprise, that we'd get much more back than we thought. So you're trying to attract the talent to take this career path,
of course,
but actually it enriches your own staff, because they're engaging with people they might not have been engaged, interacting with. So
that's brilliant. Yeah. I mean, that whole communication. So I think, you know, we've kind of established that communication is really important. And so I think, as a final point, and you're all obviously talking very well to the college and so on, but there are people obviously listening to this podcast who probably won't understand how to get in touch with the college and so on, and what things the college are doing. So Hayley, I'd like to come and sort of finish with you, actually, if I may, and just if you wanted to talk a little bit about Employer Connect and the pledges, and just how people can find you, and how, you know, if they're obviously not as connected with you guys as Petrolab and Wildanet, how do businesses get in touch with you?
So this year, the college has launched their Employer Connect initiative, which is to ensure that there is the influence of an employer or stakeholder in every single classroom. And the impact of that is absolutely invaluable in bridging the gap between education and the workplace. So on our website, we have got our partnership pledge, and a partnership pledge is available for anybody to pledge any support that they are able to offer. And that can be in any form. It can be a work placement, it can be a career conversation, it could be a guest speaker, trip, visit, anything at all. But it would be really, really valuable to help the workforce of the future and our young people in supporting them to their next steps.
Brilliant. Well, I think we've established that communication is really important, and I'd like to say a big thank you to James and Jullie-Anne, and to Hayley for joining us. And as in the words, and I'm sorry, Jullie-Anne, but in the words of another telecommunications provider, it is good to talk. Thank you for listening.